Hi, my name is Catherine and I bought this house at 21 years old. Here's how I did it. So we had to get creative. We bought this house 1 year ago. It wasn't the prettiest. The pictures online were atrocious and it is pretty outdated, to be completely honest. In 2019, my husband was active duty. He had been in for about 3 years at this point. And due to him being in the military, we were physically separated. I was living in my hometown in Florida with our young daughter and he was stationed in California. And the reason why we were doing this is like an entire video on its own. But in a nutshell, it had to do with my husband deploying right after our daughter was born and me being a very young mom. I was 21 years old, so I decided to move back with my family during this time so I could have some family support. So since I was living with my parents and he was living with a friend off base rent-free, we saved up a ton of money. We were playing around with the idea of getting a house, so my husband spoke to a broker and we got pre-approved for $360,000, and this was off of my husband's income alone in the military. We were able to get pre-approved to use his VA loan, which is 0% down, which was good because even though we were saving basically all of our money, we still didn't have much money because at this time I was not working at all. In fact, I was in school, which is eating up money. But anyway, that's a side tangent for another day. Once we got pre-approved, I started looking for houses here in Florida while my husband was still in California. And where we were looking to buy a house, our max pre-approval limit was basically the price ranges of houses in our area. In order to get something cheaper, you have to buy something that is either foreclosed or run down or not in good condition. But unfortunately, VA loans have stipulations. You can't buy something that's totally dilapidated. It needs to be something that's move-in ready by closing day. But we couldn't afford a brand new construction and we couldn't afford a house that was just recently flipped, just like so many houses are in our area. We had to find something that was ugly enough to bring down the price, but good enough to pass the inspection for the VA loan. So cue this house. This house was on the market for $330,000. By the time I got to see this house, there were already multiple offers on it, so we had to compete for this house, and I thank my realtor so much. She was amazing and did such a good job advocating for us. After negotiating, I was actually in school in my microbiology class and I was texting the realtor telling her what to say to the sellers and what the terms were for our negotiation, and we settled on paying $348,000 with the sellers paying $11,000 towards closing costs. Quick tip for home buyers: get these sellers to pay closing costs. Honestly, when we first started house hunting, I had no idea closing costs were a thing, and I had no idea that you would have to come out of pocket $11,000 just to purchase the house. I had no idea, like apart from the down payment, I had no idea that was a thing. So always get the sellers to pay for the closing costs if that's a normal thing in your area. So because the VA loan is a 0% down payment, we didn't put anything down on the house. However, we did negotiate putting $6,000 into the escrow account. Honestly, I don't really know what the escrow account is for besides paying like small fees and stuff. If anyone knows what the escrow account is exactly for, please let me know down in the comments below. I would really like to know more about that. But we ended up getting a check back at closing, so that was nice. Now we bought a house. We were able to buy the house. It passed all the inspections and we got the keys. Shortly after, started paying the mortgage, which is $1,958.88. At this time, my husband was only making $3,500 a month, which I think is absolutely crazy that the bank actually approved us for this loan. Since we had no other debt, they gave us the biggest chunk of debt that we could possibly buy. Our mortgage payment is literally half our income, but thankfully I had a plan. See, rent in this area is just as expensive. So what we did was, this is a 2-bedroom, 3-bath house. Nope. This is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house with a den. There's a pocket door that separates the 2 guest bedrooms from the rest of the house, so we put a lock on it. We created a separate entrance and installed a kitchenette in one of the bedrooms. We slapped on a coat of paint on the walls and advertised it as a guest suite for rent. And this was my plan from the beginning. This was the only way I knew we were going to be able to afford a house. And with an apartment, rent, with the rent being pretty much the same as a mortgage for this size house, we knew that we had to buy a house in order to rent out part of it to be able to afford to live somewhere on our own. So that's what we did. Obviously, there is a lot more involved in the process, which I can make an entire other video about, but for the sake of this video, that's all I'm gonna say about it. Let me know if you do want a video about the whole renovating process and renting it out. I would love to share that with you guys. Let me know down in the comments if you're interested in seeing something like that. Oh, and before I get any further, I just want to thank Graham Stephan and Meet Kevin, because I found Graham Stephan's channel back in February of 2019, and through his information on real estate and real estate investment, I was able to purchase this house in June of 2019 purely off of his information. And then Meet Kevin I discovered a little bit later, and he has some great content about renovating and getting the great deals while renovating, and also property management. So honestly, those two channels have helped me out tremendously and has changed my life so much. So I really want to thank both Graham and Kevin because they are amazing. Anyway, after analyzing different efficiencies and guest suites and one-bedroom apartments in the area, I determined that our 460 square foot guest suite that we had just created was worth about $800 a month. During the renovation process, I went over to the building department and I spoke with them about this, you know, to get permits and whatever. They said that there is nothing in our area that is zoned to be a duplex, an official duplex. By their definition, a duplex is a single building with separate units that have separate utilities. The lady at the building department said that, you know, it's fine to rent out a guest suite and make a guest suite in your house, whatever. You just can't have separate utilities. I was able to list the guest suite with all utilities included, and I bumped up the rent $200 to cover partial utilities, making the total rent for the unit $1,000 a month, which honestly I think is a very fair price for our area. So we were able to rent it out immediately after the renovation was over. We actually started showing it during the construction process, which I did not anticipate on happening, but that's what we did. And we were able to get wonderful tenants to sign a lease before the renovation was even done. With the guest suite rented for $1,000 and our mortgage being $1,958.88, that covers more than half of our mortgage, which is very nice. However, if we wanted to truly follow Dave Ramsey's advice of having your housing payment being 1/4 of your total take-home income, then we were still far ways away. Even only paying $900 a month, that still is not 1/4 of our income. So we have to lower the price of our housing. Another way we did that is our house that we bought is on over an acre of land. We created the side yard into a parking lot per se. We put a gravel lot down. It's really big. It is 2,000 square feet. The gravel lot is actually slightly bigger than our actual house. We rent that out to people with RVs, boats, etc. It has worked out very well. It took me a little bit longer to rent every single spot out than I had anticipated. It took about Sorry, my freaking camera died. 6 months after owning the house and building the lot, we were able to get 3 long-term tenants into the lot, renting their RVs and other vehicles in our space, which is super awesome and really great. I'm really glad it worked out. During those first 6 months, I was really nervous that it wasn't going to work out, and I actually really regretted the decision of making that lot. But now that I have a full lot with long-term tenants, it is very worth it to me now. Each tenant does have a different rate because it varies on the type of vehicle, and some of the tenants negotiated. So I'm just going to tell you the total of what the lot makes me. The entire lot rented out makes me $485 a month, which is super fantastic. I'm very pleased with how it worked out. That added up with the $1,000 that we get from the guest rental suite and the $485 that we get from renting out the lot in our yard. That is a total of $1,485. That means our out-of-pocket, I'm calculating it right now. So $1,958.88 minus $1,485. That means that we pay, my husband and I, out of pocket towards our mortgage is $473.88, which is a very affordable rate. You cannot rent anything for that in our area. You cannot rent a storage shed for that much, like, honestly. So I'm very, very, very pleased with how it worked out. We've had this house for just over a year now. When I first set out on this journey of buying a house, I really wanted to not pay anything towards the mortgage at all, which it didn't quite work out that way. I thought I was able to rent out the parking spots for a lot more, which is fine. But technically, if we look at how much gets paid towards our mortgage principal every month with paying the mortgage, it's a bit over $500. I'll put the exact number up here. It pretty much exactly covers, or I think it goes a little bit over what we pay out of pocket every month. So technically this house is even making us money, which is insane. So pleased with the decision to buy a house instead of renting, and I am very pleased with renting out various parts of our home, because that is the only way that my husband and I would be able to live anywhere independently. It has allowed my husband and I to consistently save towards bigger and better things, and also save towards house maintenance, which is a lot bigger of an expense than I had anticipated. So I'm even more glad that we decided to do this, because house maintenance has been insane, absolutely insane for this first year. I think I'm gonna make a video on just exactly how much this house has cost me in the first year of owning it, because that has been just, it blows my mind. It still does. It makes me cringe. But yes, that is how I'm able to afford a house at 21 years old. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want more videos like this, please like this video and comment down below. I am so excited to share my tips and tricks with you, and just how I'm able to navigate through this like adult life. Transitioning from a teenager to an independent adult is definitely a journey, and just figuring out the ropes is very interesting. So hopefully I have some tips that can help any one of you going through the same stuff that I'm going through. So thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye!